Helmshore textile mills have sat deeply embedded within the beautiful landscape of Rossendale Valley since 1789. The mills harnessed natural energy from the valley to become an important part of Lancashire cotton and wool production at the height of the Industrial Revolution, and has since become a museum in more recent years. Mid-Pennine Arts, in collaboration with Lancashire County Council, have commissioned internationally acclaimed artist Claire Morgan to create a site-specific sculpture as part of the Contemporary Heritage Programme. Claire has responded to the history, the environment and the mill workers' accounts to create a sculpture suspended within the Devil Hole, one of the most dangerous places to work in the mill.
The sculpture is called No Match and sort of connected to various themes that I discovered. I did a residency here in October and that was for a week, and I spent time in all the various parts of the mill looking at the machinery and learning about people's sort of experiences while they were working here, and also about the materials and how they're processed. This room interested me most just because it was quite easy to get a really vivid sense of how awful it must have been. I mean, this machine is a 6-cylinder Devil, which basically tears up cotton wastes until the materials are back to something similar to their natural state. Recycling, but not recycling for environmental reasons, just because it's cheaper and it was basically to make money. So it's a very aggressive thing. I think it was common for people to lose fingers, and there was fire almost daily. I think quite serious fires quite frequently as well. I think it was an important part of coming up with the idea to try and imagine what it would have been like to work here.
They were called them Devil because they fired so damn much. We used to be averaging 3 or 4 fires a day.
A nasty, horrible machine with 1-inch spikes and used to tear up the thread.
If you've got your hand there, it's hard luck for a quarter an hour. Every time you stop, there's known to be a hell of a mess of your hand. It's there, one look at his thumb took right off with you.
Metal bar revolving about 500 revs of it is.
You smell it first, and then you start looking.
But all the cotton dust is very, very highly inflammable.
The Devils are a fire risk at any time.
I suppose the purpose of the mill is, in a really general sense, trying to kind of organise and control natural materials. I guess like the presence of fire and danger and blood sort of coming from those things in the space is like nature coming back, trying to sort of fight back. All of my work is about aggressive, sort of destructive relationship that we have with nature. So in the piece, the rats have got that kind of a role, just disrupting the control that I'm trying to impose on the materials. They weren't wild rats, they were pet rats actually, but they were the only ones I happened to have that were the right sizes. So there's these kind of holes that come through the work, and the rats are going to appear to be falling out. So the intention is that he's going to look like he's hanging onto the side, and then there'll be fragments of plastic kind of falling out past him and onto the floor, so it looks like he's burst through the side of it. The other one will be up here, flying out of it as well. I do the taxidermy myself. I've always worked with organic materials, and yeah, using the animals just seemed like a natural progression from that. The materials I have used is just polythene from shopping bags of recycling, connecting it with the world that we live in rather than just making a tableau out of the materials that would have been here already. Part of the risk of fire was from matches or metal waste being in the cloth, and while it was being torn up in these machines. The title was touching on that presence of matches in the room, but is also about our relationship with nature and our kind of trying to control nature or harness it, and the idea that we are no match for it. And then on a more light-hearted level, it also might look like the rats are racing through. I try to make there be several layers of meaning to the title. Not that you're necessarily supposed to get all of them, but if different people get different things from it, then that's kind of nice.
think it's very impressive because the amount of work and effort and patience that has gone into that.
Just the delicacy of the work against what is a very hard environment. You feel as though it could fall at any time and the work be destroyed by the actual machinery underneath it, so it causes that tension.
It was a real surprise, and I must say a joy to see that it was light, airy, and it really brought out the atmosphere of what it must have been like in a mill.
I think it's great in that it's not too prescriptive. People can interpret it in different ways and see a certain beauty in it as well.
It actually adds to the interpretation of the space. So you can see this wonderful piece of artwork. You start to think about what it's about. So really interesting piece of work.
It's all related to what is here. So from that point of view, it's not incongruous. It just sort of enhances and gives a completely new and different perspective on what's here. And that's what I think's so exciting about these commissions.
I don't think either of us are great fans of contemporary art. But I do confess that the more you look, the more it speaks to you.